Dragons have the inborn ability to learn and project their voice. Dragons also are able to absorb the power of their slain brethren. A few mortals are born with similar abilities. Whether a gift or a curse has been a matter of debate down through the centuries. What you have already learned in a few days took even the most gifted of us years to achieve. Some believe that Dragonborn are sent into the world by the gods at times of great need. We will speak more of that later, when you are ready.
A large percentage of Elder Scrolls fans were first introduced to the Elder Scrolls games through the fifth and most beloved title, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. The unprecedented popularity of the fifth installment led the fanbase to become fascinated with the idea of a Dragonborn, and information surrounding the protagonist quickly became popular. The Last Dragonborn served us through countless playthroughs, and that's why questions of the Last Dragonborn's origin have been within the main topics floating around the community since Skyrim's release in 2011. Hey there everyone, my name is Xith, and today I'll be opening up a discussion into the topic of what it means to be Dragonborn, and how such persons affected the course of Tamriel's history. In order to elaborate upon the meaning of such a thing, I'll first have to give you a quick introduction into what a Dragonborn is. A Dragonborn, or Dovahkiin in the Dragon tongue, serves as a hybrid of sorts. A hybrid that bears both the blood and soul of a Dovah/dragon, yet has retained its mortal body. This ability to possess both the blood and soul of a Dovah is what most would call a gift, one supposedly granted by the father of all dragons, Akatosh. Akatosh is called the dragon god of time for a reason, as he supposedly gave life to the Dovah. The Dovah quickly rose to become divine creatures, and with their divine background came immense power. One of these powerful traits was the utilization of another form of tonal magic called the Thu'um. The Thu'um served as a powerful tool for the Dovah to express themselves in this world, but it quickly turned into a tool efficient at dominating the will of mortals who could satiate the inherently dominant nature of the Dovah. To simplify it, the Thu'um is a form of vocal magical spells that one could summon by shouting words from the dragon language. Learning this skill is inconceivable to most mortals, but in the beginning times of Tamriel, Atmorans and ancient Nords with enough tenacity and willpower could indeed learn how to shout. These ancient Nords were called tongues, and they were individuals from a bygone era who had the natural ability to speak the dragon language, which was known by them as the voice. Now, I don't mean as in the natural ability to easily speak it like a Dragonborn could, but the ability to comprehend it in the first place. Nords of that time viewed themselves as children of the sky, and that the voice was an essential part of their essence, an essence they felt they had to tap into and learn to channel through shouting. Unfortunately, tongues are a thing of the past, and rarely does a modern day Nord ever think about learning the Thu'um, even if they are genetically predispositioned for such an art. This process of learning how to shout is described as something that takes years upon years to even comprehend, and learning even the most basic of shouts might take upward of a decade to complete. Due to their history with the Dovah and what transpired during the Dragon Rebellion in the Merethic era, Nords are said to have a particular affinity toward the Thu'um, but this only gives a select few the capacity to even comprehend it in the first place. Ulfric Stormcloak is an example of someone who successfully learned a couple of basic shouts during his stay at High Hrothgar as a child. But just because Ulfric managed to do it doesn't mean every Nord has the capacity to learn. We must not forget that Ulfric is of royal blood after all. A mortal blessed with the Dragonborn gift has the inherent ability not to only absorb the soul of a dragon, but to also siphon the knowledge of those shouts directly from them. Regular humans on the other hand can successfully kill them, but only temporarily. The soul of a dragon lingers on and can never be truly eradicated, only if they perish at the hands of a fellow dragon, or in this case a Dragonborn. Everyone who possesses the Dragonborn gift is a real threat to dragons, and this obviously instills fears into the hearts of dragons, as they rely on their immortal souls to terrorize and dominate the world around them. Some believe that the appearance of a Dragonborn is an indicator of divine intervention, a command of the gods during a time of great need. And given the world-ending event we're thrown into during the Elder Scrolls V, I'd be inclined to believe such a prophecy. When misrule takes its place at the 8 corners of the world, when the brass tower walks and time is reshaped, when the thrice blessed fail and the red tower trembles, when the dragonborn ruler loses his throne and the white tower falls, when the snow tower lies sundered, kingless, bleeding, the World Eater wakes, and the wheel turns upon the last dragonborn. Alduin was in this case the world-ending event, and Alduin's return is what gave spawn to a figure like the last dragonborn. But not all under the blessing of this gift took to their birth-given right as reason to save the world. Let's start with the first dragonborn, Miraak. The first dragonborn is believed to have been Miraak, the infamous dragon priest in servitude of the dragon cult. Miraak was the first to have experienced what it was like to possess such a powerful ability, and this is what inadvertently marked his downfall. His newfound ability to absorb the soul of dragons made him lust for even more knowledge that could build upon his powerful gift. He likely viewed this gift as an opportunity to become a demigod. During Miraak's uprising, the dragon war in the Merethic era between the Dovah and Dragon Rebellion was in full effect, and it doesn't take a scientist to conclude that Miraak was supposed to intervene and help the rebellion, as he had the best chances of defeating the Dovah. Unfortunately, Miraak's lust for knowledge and general arrogance had him dismiss the rebellion altogether, prompting him to continue fighting the dragon cult on his own accord. Miraak actively used the Thu'um to revolt against his draconic masters, but he was eventually overwhelmed by the dragon priest Valog. His obsession with knowledge is what also landed him in the servitude of Hermaeus Mora after his defeat at the hands of Valog, making him a puppet of the Daedra. Miraak's experience is a perfect example of what happens when one becomes aware of the power that mastering the Thu'um unleashes, which is why the Greybeards have a habit of warning people of the arrogance that comes with easily understanding the Thu'um, and this form of arrogance nearly always leads to their downfall. The nature of dragons is questionable, but one thing we know for sure is that they fully embraced their power and thus became dominant in nature, and throughout history they've displayed a sense of pride rarely comparable to any other creature or entity. This will to dominate also breeds within a dragonborn, and if given the tools to dominate, little to nothing can stop them from changing the course of history, for the good or even for the bad. This is why the Greybeards advised the last dragonborn to tread lightly and understand the true significance of the Thu'um, because if it were to fall in the hands of someone like Miraak again, the world would have gained nothing but another tyrant. Another association the term Dragonborn has is with the Dragonborn Emperors of Tamriel. These were people such as Saint Alicia, Remen Cyrodiil, and Tiber Septim, who sprung forth a lineage of Dragonborn Emperors that ruled their respective empires for centuries across multiple eras. Both Remen Cyrodiil and Tiber Septim showed clear signs of mastering the Thu'um as a show of force in battle, and this is what established them as god heroes of mankind. But Saint Alicia, on the other hand, has no recorded instances of shouting or using the Thu'um, which is not to say she wasn't capable of it. Alicia's case is a special one, mainly because Akatosh intentionally imbued Alicia and her lineage with blood from his own heart in an effort to allow her lineage to keep the dragon fires lit via the Amulet of Kings, which can only keep the fires lit if worn by those of dragon blood. This means that her lineage was still technically dragonborn, but I'm not sure if that entitled them to the conventional powers of a true hand-picked dragonborn, just as Tiber Septim's descendants couldn't learn to shout or master the Thu'um like he had. What their descendants did have was the gift of sight, which comes with possessing dragon blood regardless of if you were the first dragonborn in a specific lineage. Those with dragon blood have used the sight to tap into the future, acquiring information through visions and prophecy as a way to change the course of history. Former Emperor Uriel Septim VII from the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion roughly predicted the Oblivion Crisis as his gift of foresight allowed him to dream it. This, and the ability to read Elder Scrolls without permanent visual impairment, is one of the benefits of dragon blood coursing through their veins. It shows just how closely connected a dragonborn can be to the core aspects of the world and the flow of time itself. Remen Cyrodiil and Tiber Septim are both great examples of people who use their gift to benefit the growth of mankind in one way or another. They were both tools of unity and empowerment for the then conflicted population of mankind, allowing for men to unify under one banner, creating civilized and cultured societies that would stand the test of time. How Akatosh ties into the advancement of mankind eludes me, but the Dragonborn gift predominantly helped the world forward and establish their societies, starting with the Dragon War all the way to the creation of an economic superpower ruling all of Tamriel by the Third Era. The last Dragonborn is also called on to fulfill his divine role in the world during the 4th era, and from what we've noticed, the last Dragonborn is predominantly displayed as a Nord warrior, which further ties in with Nordic tradition. Nordic tradition generally clings to the legend of the Dragonborn, and it fantasizes the Dragonborn's image as something that all Nords should aspire to follow. To sum it up, the Dragonborn is an end to all of Skyrim's foes, and Nordic tradition sings about these dragon slayers of old that stand as a source of pride for all mankind. A Dragonborn is generally called upon to help a respective society in need. Their roles during such hard times is what puts them into writing, and their legendary achievements show us why they rose to the title of hero gods. Now, that is what it means to be Dragonborn. If you feel like your time was well spent watching this video, be sure to support the channel by liking this video and maybe even subscribing if you're interested in similar content. I'm close to getting 1000 subscribers and I'm pretty keen on hitting that goal. Now thank you for watching and have a good one.